The massive space station hung in the dark void like a glowing jewel. Centauri Prime Station was the most important place in the galaxy. Today, it would host a meeting that could change everything. Ships from dozens of worlds had come to witness this moment. Ambassador Marcus Reed stood in his small room, looking out at the stars. He wore his best uniform, the blue and gold colors of Earth. His hands were steady, but his heart was beating fast. Today, humanity would ask to join the Galactic Alliance. After 3 years of waiting, this was their chance. Marcus had spent months preparing for this day. He knew the names of every council member. He understood their customs and their fears. Many of them saw humans as dangerous. They called Earth people the young race or the reckless ones. Some species had been traveling between stars for thousands of years. Humans had only been in space for a few hundred. The council chamber was enormous. Seats rose in circles around a central speaking area. Each seat was designed for a different type of being. The Vorthak needed special crystal platforms for their rock-like bodies. The Melody required water tanks for their tentacled forms. The insect-like Kryn sat on metal perches that clicked when they moved. Marcus walked to the center of the chamber. Hundreds of eyes watched him. Some were familiar like human eyes. Others glowed with strange colors or moved in ways that made him dizzy. The air smelled of different atmospheres mixing together. His translator device hummed softly in his ear. Council Chairman Thylos rose from the highest seat. The ancient being looked like a tree made of silver metal. His voice was deep and echoed through the chamber. We gather today to hear Earth's request for full membership in the Galactic Alliance. Marcus bowed in the human style, then in the formal way each major species preferred. He had practiced this many times. Honored members of the Council, I speak for all of humanity. We come seeking friendship and knowledge. We offer our skills and our dedication to peace. The Vorthak representative, a being that looked like walking crystal, spoke first. Humans are known for violence. Your species has wars even on your homeworld. Why should we trust you with the secrets of the galaxy? Marcus had expected this question. We do not hide our past. Yes, humans have fought wars, but we have also learned from them. We created the United Earth Government to end global conflict. We have been at peace for 50 years, a Melody delegate raised several tentacles. When she spoke, her words came out like singing. Your species is very young, the youngest race we have ever considered for membership. Most species wait at least 1,000 years before applying. Youth can be a strength, Marcus replied. We bring new ideas and fresh energy. We are eager to learn and quick to adapt. The questions continued for hours. Marcus answered each one carefully. He spoke about human achievements in science and art. He explained their system of government and their laws. He showed videos of Earth's beauty and diversity. Some council members seemed interested. Others looked doubtful. The Kryn representative clicked his mandibles in what Marcus knew was disapproval. The debate was not going well. Then the lights changed. Red emergency lights began flashing throughout the chamber. A loud alarm sound filled the air. Automated voices spoke in dozens of languages at once. Security breach, all personnel to emergency stations. This is not a drill. The council members looked around in confusion. Nothing like this had ever happened during a formal session. Security Chief Vexstar, a tall being with gray skin and 4 arms, rushed into the chamber. His face showed fear, which was unusual for his warrior species. Honored council members, Vexstar announced, we have a containment failure in the research levels. The Shadow Maw specimen has broken free from its holding cell. The chamber erupted in panic. Marcus had heard stories about Shadow Maws. They were the most feared creatures in the galaxy. Legends said they could kill entire armies. They lived in the dark spaces between stars and attacked without warning. How is that possible? Chairman Thylos demanded. That containment cell was built to hold anything. The station's power grid has been damaged by a solar flare, Vexstar explained. Backup systems are failing across multiple levels. The creature broke through 3 security barriers. Most of the delegates were already moving toward the emergency exits. The Melody sang high, frightened notes. The Kryn clicked rapidly and spread their wings. Even the normally calm Vorthak were moving with unusual speed. Marcus stood still in the center of the chamber. He had never seen a shadow maw, but he knew they were massive predators. The research notes said they were 12 feet tall with 6 eyes and claws that could cut through metal. Scientists believed they had no intelligence beyond basic hunting instincts. All council members must evacuate to the secure levels, Vexstar ordered. Security teams are moving to contain the creature, but it may take hours. Marcus watched the chaos around him. Beings who had ruled star systems for centuries were running in fear. This was not how he had planned to end his speech to the council. Humanity's chance for membership would have to wait. The main doors to the chamber suddenly groaned. Metal screeched against metal. Something was pushing against them from the other side. The sound was getting louder. "It's here!" someone screamed. Vexstar raised his weapon, a device that fired bolts of pure energy. "Everyone out the emergency exits, now!" But Marcus did not move. He stared at the bending doors and listened carefully. The sounds coming from the other side were not random. There was a pattern to them. It almost sounded like the creature was trying to communicate. The doors burst open. A massive shadow filled the doorway. The shadow maw stepped into the chamber, and Marcus got his first look at the legendary predator. It was even larger than the reports claimed. Its body was covered in dark fur that seemed to absorb light. 6 glowing eyes looked in different directions. Its mouth was full of teeth as long as daggers. Claws scraped against the metal floor as it moved. The remaining delegates screamed and ran for the exits. Security guards fired their weapons, but the energy bolts seemed to have no effect. The creature roared, and the sound was like thunder, but Marcus noticed something others missed. The shadow maw's body language reminded him of something. The way it held its head, the way it moved its massive limbs. It looked like a frightened animal, not an attacking monster. The creature's 6 eyes finally focused on Marcus. He was the only being left in the center of the chamber. They stared at each other across the empty space. Marcus could hear his own heartbeat in the sudden silence. Slowly, very slowly, Marcus raised his hand. The shadow maw towered over Marcus like a living mountain of darkness. Its 6 eyes burned like small stars in the dim emergency lighting. Each eye was the size of Marcus's head, and they all focused on him with deadly intensity. The creature's breathing was deep and heavy, like the sound of wind through a cave. From the safety bunker behind reinforced glass, Dr. Elena Vasquez watched in horror. She was Earth's leading expert on alien creatures, and she knew exactly how dangerous this situation was. Her hands shook as she activated the communication system. "Marcus, get away from that thing," she shouted into her microphone. "That creature has killed entire military units." It destroyed a Kryn battlecruiser with just its claws. But Marcus did not move. He stood perfectly still, his hand raised toward the massive predator. The shadow maw was close enough that Marcus could feel the heat from its body. Its breath smelled like metal and ozone. Security Chief Vexstar crouched behind an overturned table, his weapon still aimed at the creature. "Ambassador Reed, move away slowly. We have heavy weapons coming." Marcus ignored them both. He was watching the shadow maw's body language with the careful attention of someone who had grown up around dangerous animals. On his home colony of New Montana, he had learned to read the moods of razor wolves and thunder bears. Those skills had kept him alive many times. The shadow maw's ears were not flat against its head, which would mean anger. Instead, they were tilted forward, which usually meant curiosity or confusion. Its massive claws were not extended for attack. They were retracted like a cat at rest. Most importantly, its tail was not lashing. In most predators, a moving tail meant imminent attack. "Easy, big fellow," Marcus said softly. He did not use the universal translator. Instead, he spoke in pure human tones, letting his voice carry his emotions. "You're scared, aren't you? This place is strange and loud and full of unfamiliar smells." The shadow maw's 6 eyes blinked in sequence. It tilted its massive head, too. One side, like a dog trying to understand a new command. The creature took a step closer to Marcus, and its claws clicked against the metal floor in the bunker. Elena was frantically reading data on her tablet. Marcus, listen to me. Shadow Maws are pure predators. They have no higher brain functions. They cannot be reasoned with or tamed. But Marcus was not listening to the scientific data. He was listening to something else entirely. The Shadow Maw was making soft sounds, almost too low for human ears to hear. They were not growls or roars. They sounded almost like singing. The creature lowered its head until it was at Marcus's eye level. This close, Marcus could see that its 6 eyes were not just glowing orbs. They had depth and intelligence. Something was thinking behind those eyes, something far more complex than a simple hunting instinct. You're trying to tell me something, aren't you? Marcus whispered. You're not just some mindless monster. You're smart, maybe smarter than any of us realized. The Shadow Maw made a sound that was almost like a purr, but deeper and more complex. It was the sound of distant thunder mixed with the humming of machinery. The creature moved its head closer to Marcus's outstretched hand. Council Chairman Thylos watched from another observation port. His ancient metal face showed an expression that none of his species had worn in 1,000 years, complete amazement. This is impossible, he said to himself. No one has ever made peaceful contact with a Shadow Maw. Elena was still reading her data, but now she was finding information that did not match what she was seeing. The brain scans we have on file. They're incomplete. We only studied dead specimens. We never had a chance to observe living behavior. Vexstar was speaking into his communicator, calling for backup and heavy weapons, but his voice was uncertain. He had never seen anything like this in his long military career. Marcus took a small step forward. The Shadow Maw did not move away. Instead, it lowered its head even further until its forehead was almost touching Marcus's hand. The creature's eyes closed to slits, and it made that thunder purr sound again. That's it, Marcus said gently. You just want someone to understand you, don't you? You've been alone for so long. Very slowly, Marcus placed his palm against the creature's forehead. The Shadow Maw's skin was warm and covered in fur so fine it felt like silk. The moment their skin touched, Marcus felt something extraordinary. Images flashed through his mind. Not his own memories, but something else. He saw vast spaces between stars, filled with darkness and cold. He saw other Shadow Maws moving in, groups like a pack of wolves. He saw fear and loneliness and a desperate need to communicate. The Shadow Maw's eyes opened wide. It was sharing its memories with Marcus, somehow connecting their minds in a way that no one had thought possible. Elena saw the change in both of them immediately. Their brainwaves are synchronizing, she said in amazement, reading the sensors that were monitoring the chamber. They're actually communicating. The thunder purr grew louder and more complex. Other Shadow Maws were answering from somewhere. Deep in the station, Marcus realized with shock that there were more of these creatures in the research levels, and they were all calling to each other. They're not solitary hunters, Marcus said, his voice filled with wonder. They're social creatures. They live in family groups. And they've been trying to talk to us for years. The Shadow Maw lifted its head and looked directly at Chairman Thylos through the observation window. When it spoke, its voice was like an earthquake-given sound. But now Marcus could understand the meaning behind the rumbling words. Why do? You teep cages? The creature asked. The chamber fell completely silent. Every being in the observation areas stared in shock. A Shadow Maw had just spoken. Not in roars or growls, but in actual words. Chairman Thylos stepped closer to the window. His voice was barely a whisper. Did that creature just ask us a question? Marcus nodded, still touching the Shadow Maw's forehead. Her name is Deep Song of Stars. She's been trying to communicate with your researchers for 3 years. She wants to know why her people are imprisoned when they've done nothing wrong. The Shadow Maw, Deep Song of Stars, looked around the chamber with her 6 eyes. She saw the weapons pointed at her, the fear in the faces watching her, the barriers that had been built to contain her. Her thunder voice spoke again. We came do, warn danger, comes the between stars. But listen. Elena dropped her tablet. Vexstar lowered his weapon. Even the council members who had fled were slowly returning to hear what the creature had to say. Marcus looked into Deep Song of Stars' eyes and saw intelligence that was ancient and wise. These creatures were not monsters at all. They were something else entirely, something the galaxy had completely misunderstood, and now, finally, someone was listening. The emergency meeting room was packed with the most important beings in the galaxy. 3 hours had passed since the Shadowmaw incident, and no one could agree on what it meant. Council Chairman Phylos sat at the head of the long table, his metal fingers drumming nervously on the surface. "We need answers," Phylos announced. "In 3,000 years of galactic civilization, nothing like this has ever happened. A human spoke with a creature we thought was mindless. We need to understand how." Dr. Elena Vasquez sat between two alien scientists. To her left was Dr. Hickstel, a Kryn whose insect-like features twitched with excitement. To her right was Flowing Thoughts of Deep Waters, a melody whose tentacles moved in patterns that showed deep thinking. "The brain scans were clear," Elena said, looking at her data tablet. "When Marcus touched the Shadowmaw, both their minds showed the same wave patterns. They were sharing thoughts somehow." Dr. Hickstel clicked his mandibles. "Impossible. Humans have no psychic abilities. We tested your species thoroughly before allowing you into our space." "But the evidence is right here," Elena replied. She showed them recordings of the brain activity. "Look at these patterns. They match perfectly for 17 minutes. Flowing Thoughts of Deep Water spoke in her singing voice. "Perhaps humans have abilities they do not know about. Many species discover new talents when they meet other forms of life." Meanwhile, Marcus sat alone in his diplomatic quarters. The council had not arrested him, but they had made it clear he should not leave his rooms. 2 Vorthic guards stood outside his door, their crystal bodies glowing with soft light. Marcus stared out his window at the stars. He could still feel something in his mind, like an echo of the connection with Deep Song of Stars. Images flashed through his thoughts, dark shapes moving between planets. Worlds that had been full of life suddenly becoming empty and silent. Security Chief Vexstar entered the room without knocking. His forearms were crossed and his gray face showed concern. "Ambassador Rid, the Council wants to know if you are working with an enemy species. Some members think humans might be spies." Marcus turned from the window. "I'm not a spy, Vexstar. I don't understand what happened any more than you do." "Then explain how you could talk to that creature when our best scientists have studied them for decades." Marcus thought carefully before answering. "On my home colony, I grew up around dangerous animals. My father taught me to watch their body language, to understand what they were feeling." "Maybe that skill works on alien creatures too," Vexstar's eyes narrowed. "You're saying you can read the emotions of any creature?" "I don't know, maybe I've never tried it with aliens before." Back in the meeting room, the investigation was revealing surprising facts. Dr. Hickstel had been studying reports from across the galaxy, and he had found something disturbing. "There have been other incidents," he announced to the room. 17 reports in the past year of humans making contact with creatures we thought were dangerous. Elena looked up from her notes. "What kind of incidents?" "On Kepler Station, eh?" Human trader calmed a pack of void rats that were attacking the cargo bay. "On the mining world of Titan 7, human workers befriended the tunnel crawlers that live in the deep caves. The crawlers started warning them about dangerous gas pockets." Flowing Thoughts of Deep Waters sang a note of amazement. "The tunnel crawlers of Titan 7 have never shown intelligence before. They were thought to be simple animals." "That's not all," Dr. Hickstel continued. "On the research station at Vol 359, a human child made friends with a captured star whale. The creature had been hostile to all other contact, but it became gentle around the child." Chairman Thylos leaned forward. "Are you saying humans have some kind of universal ability to communicate with non-sapient life?" "The evidence suggests it," Dr. Hickstel replied, "but we need more testing to be sure." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. If that's true, it could change everything. Most of the galaxy's dangerous creatures might not be dangerous at all. They might just be trying to communicate. The Vorthic representative, Crystal Song of Truth, spoke for the first time. Her voice was like music played on glass instruments. The ancient texts speak of a species called the Beast Callers. They could speak with any living thing and bring peace between natural enemies. Those are just legends, Thylos said dismissively. They? Crystal Song of Truth asked. The texts say the Beast Callers came from a world of many dangers where creatures of all kinds lived together. They learned to speak with tooth and claw, with wing and fin. Elena's hands were shaking as she made notes. That sounds like Earth. Our world has more biodiversity than most planets. Humans evolved alongside thousands of different predators and prey animals. Dr. Hickstel was reading more reports on his datapad. There's something else. The human who calmed the void rats reported that they seemed to be trying to warn about something. The tunnel crawlers on Titan 7 kept pointing toward deep space. The star whale drew pictures in the sand that looked like a map. A map of what? Thylos demanded. Unknown, but all the creatures seemed to be pointing in the same direction, toward the outer rim of the galaxy. In his quarters, Marcus suddenly sat up straight. The images in his mind were becoming clearer. He saw the dark shapes again, but now he could see them better. They were not ships or space stations. They were alive. Massive creatures that moved between stars like fish, swimming through an ocean, but these creatures were different from the shadow maws. They were wrong somehow. Where the shadow maws felt warm and intelligent, these things felt cold and empty. They consumed everything they touched, leaving nothing behind. Marcus stood up and walked to his door. The Vorthic guards moved to block his path. I need to speak with the council, Marcus said urgently. I think I know what Deep Song of Stars was trying to warn us about. One of the guards spoke in a voice like breaking glass. You are confined to quarters by order of the council. Then get them here. Now, this is more important than any diplomatic protocol. Back in the meeting room, alarms began to sound. Not the red emergency alarms from before, but deep blue ones that meant something was wrong with the long-range sensors. A technician rushed into the room. Chairman Thylos, we're detecting massive energy signatures at the edge of the galaxy. Something big is moving in the dark space beyond the rim. Elena felt her heart stop. How big? Unknown. But the energy readings are unlike anything we've ever seen. Whatever it is, it's heading toward the inhabited systems. Dr. Hickstel's mandibles clicked rapidly. The creatures were trying to warn us, all of them. They could sense something coming that we couldn't detect. Chairman Thylos stood up, his metal body creaking. Get Ambassador Reed. Now, if he can really communicate with these creatures, we need to know what they know. Flowing thoughts of deep waters sang a low, worried note. If the ancient texts are true, if humans really are the beast callers, then they might be our only hope of understanding. What's coming? Elena looked at the data streaming across her tablet. Energy signatures were appearing all along the galactic rim. Whatever was out there, it was big, and it was moving fast. The investigation had revealed something that changed everything. Humans weren't just another species asking to join the galactic community. They might be the key to the galaxy's survival. Council Archivist Morden had not slept in 3 days. The ancient Zelthian spent his time in the deepest levels of the station's data archives, searching through records that had not been accessed for thousands of years. His 6 fingers moved quickly across holographic displays, pulling up files that most beings had forgotten existed. There, he whispered to himself, his pale blue skin glowing with excitement. I found it. The file was marked with warnings in a dozen ancient languages. It was sealed by the First Council, the original group of species that had formed the Galactic Alliance 5,000 years ago. The file was titled The Void Swarm Incident, classified beyond top secret. Morden's hands shook as he opened the file. Inside were reports, sensor readings, and witness accounts from the earliest days of galactic civilization. What he read made his blood turn cold. In the main council chamber, Marcus stood before the assembled leaders of the galaxy. Deep Song of Stars sat beside him, her massive form somehow managing to look peaceful despite her fearsome appearance. The connection between human and Shadowmaw was stronger now, allowing them to communicate more clearly. "Tell them what you showed me," Marcus said gently to Deep Song of Stars. The Shadowmaw's thunder voice filled the chamber. "Long ago before your civilizations the void void from between galaxies. Chairman Thylos leaned forward. "What is the Void Swarm?" Deep Song of Stars closed her 6 eyes, accessing memories that were not her own but belonged to her entire species. "Creatures emptiness hunger, they does life, leaving only darkness behind." Dr. Elena Vasquez was recording everything on her tablet. "How do you know about this?" "It happened before your species could have witnessed it. We the survivors," Deep Song of Stars replied. "Our ancestors great consumption. We have carried the memory for 3 million years." The chamber fell silent. 3 million years was longer than most species had existed. The Shadowmaws had been carrying this knowledge across the galaxy for eons, trying to warn anyone who would listen. Morden burst into the chamber, his archive robes flying behind him. "Chairman Thylos, I found the records. The classified files from the First Council." He activated a holographic projector in the center of the room. Ancient images appeared in the air, showing star systems that no longer existed. The images were grainy and damaged, but they clearly showed something terrible. 5,000 years ago, the outer colonies detected massive energy signatures approaching from intergalactic space, Morden explained. The First Council sent their most advanced ships to investigate. The hologram showed sleek vessels, designs that were far more advanced than anything the current galaxy possessed. They approached a region of space that seemed to absorb light itself. "None of the ships returned," Morden continued. "But before they were lost, they transmitted these images." The hologram changed, showing creatures that defied description. They were massive, larger than space stations, and they moved through the void like living shadows. Where they passed, stars went dark and planets became lifeless husks. "The Void Swarm," Morden said. "They consumed 17 star systems in 3 months. The First Council's entire fleet was destroyed trying to stop them." Dr. Hickstel's mandibles clicked nervously. "How did they disappear? What made them leave?" "They didn't leave," Deep Song of Stars said. "They sleep. They then they rest galaxies now they wake again." Elena felt sick. "How long do they sleep?" 3 million years, came the reply. The math was horrible, but simple. The Void Swarm had destroyed the ancient civilizations, then retreated to the space between galaxies to digest their meal. Now they were returning, hungry again. Flowing thoughts of deep waters sang a song of despair. "Our ancestors never knew what happened to the First Council. We thought they simply vanished. They were trying to protect us," Thylos said quietly. "They sealed the records so future generations wouldn't live in fear." Security Chief Vexstar activated his communication device. "Long-range sensors are confirming the Archivist's findings. We're detecting massive objects moving through the void between galaxies. They're heading directly for our outer colonies." Marcus placed his hand on Deep Song of Stars' head, sharing her memories more deeply. What he saw made him stagger. The Void Swarm wasn't just a collection of creatures. It was a single, vast intelligence that had consumed entire galaxies across the universe. "They're not just hungry," Marcus said, his voice shaking. "They're intelligent. They plan their attacks. They study their prey before they strike. How long do we have?" Thylos asked. Dr. Hicksdale was analyzing the sensor data. "Based on their current speed, they'll reach the outer rim colonies in 6 months. The core worlds have maybe 2 years. Can we fight them?" Vexstar demanded. "Our combined fleets are the strongest military force the galaxy has ever seen." Morden shook his head sadly. "The First Council had technology we can only dream of. Ships that could destroy planets, weapons that could shatter stars. The Void Swarm consumed them all. Deep Song of Stars made a sound like distant thunder. Their way, but requires trust between your deeple. What do you mean?" Elena asked. Marcus felt new images flowing through his connection with the Shadow Maw. He saw other creatures, dozens of species that the galaxy had classified as dangerous monsters. But in Deep Song of Stars' memories, they were something else entirely. "The creatures you call monsters," Marcus said slowly. "The void rats, the tunnel crawlers, the star whales. They're not random animals. They're soldiers." "Soldiers?" Thylos asked. "The survivors of the last war," Marcus explained. "Species that evolved to fight the Void Swarm. They've been waiting for 3 million years for the enemy to return." Deep Song of Stars stood to her full height, her massive form casting shadows across the chamber. "We are the first council created enhanced creatures t design to void swarm." The revelation hit the chamber like a physical blow. The creatures they had been studying, capturing, and fearing were actually ancient weapons, created by their own ancestors to fight an enemy that had been dormant for millions of years. "But why didn't you tell us?" Thylos asked. "We tried for thousands years years tried, but did us saw us as monsters only humans here words." Elena looked at Marcus with new understanding. "That's why you could communicate with them. Humans evolved the ability to read any creature's intentions, your natural mediators. Vexstar was studying tactical displays. Even with these enhanced creatures, can we really fight something that destroyed the First Council? We advantages did not," Deep Song of Stars replied. "We the no enemies weaknesses and have the discallers." Marcus felt the weight of the galaxy's future settling on his shoulders. Humanity had come to the Council seeking membership. Instead, they had discovered they were the key to the galaxy's survival. The Void Swarm was coming, and only the alliance between civilization and the creatures they had feared could hope to stop it. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. Across thousands of worlds, humans were working alongside creatures that had been feared for centuries. Marcus stood on the bridge of the flagship Unity, watching as Shadow Maws flew through space. Beside Kryn battle cruisers and Vorthak destroyers, 6 months had passed since the Council meeting. The outer rim colonies had already fallen to the Void Swarm's advanced scouts. Dark, empty husks of worlds drifted where thriving civilizations had once existed. The main swarm was only weeks away from the core systems. Dr. Elena Vasquez worked at a control station, coordinating communications between dozens of human mediators and their creature partners. Each human had bonded with a different species of enhanced creature, creating a network of understanding that spanned the galaxy. "Report from the Titan 7 sector," Elena announced. "Commander Jake and his tunnel crawler pack have successfully evacuated 3 mining colonies. The Void Rats are tracking Void Swarm movements through hyperspace. Marcus nodded, his attention split between the tactical display and his mental connection with Deep Song of Stars. The massive Shadow Maw was leading her pack in formation around the flagship, their enhanced senses detecting threats that no technology could find. "They're close," Marcus said aloud. "Deep Song can feel them in the dark between stars?" Chairman Thylo stood nearby, his ancient metal form somehow looking smaller than before. "Are we really ready for this? Our entire strategy depends on creatures we barely understand." "We understand them better than we understand ourselves," replied Commander Lisa Park, another human mediator. Her partner was a star whale named Gentle Current of Time, whose massive form dwarfed even the largest battleships. Security Chief Vexstar was coordinating the military aspects of their defense. His 4 arms moved quickly over multiple control panels as he managed the largest fleet in galactic history. "All units report ready. We have 3,000 ships from 47 different species, plus 800 enhanced creature packs. The question is whether it will be enough," muttered Dr. Hickstel. The Kryn scientist had spent weeks analyzing the Void Swarm's approach patterns. "They're not coming as a single force. They're spreading out, trying to surround us." Marcus closed his eyes and reached out through his connection with Deep Song of Stars. Through her, he could sense the other Shadow Maws, and through them, the entire network of enhanced creatures scattered across the galaxy. "They want us to spread our forces thin," Marcus said. "But that's exactly what we should do." The enhanced creatures work best in small groups. They were designed to hunt, not fight massive battles. Elena looked up from her station. "Marcus is right. The tunnel crawlers are reporting that the Void Swarm Scouts avoid areas where the creatures are working together. They remember these species from the last war." Suddenly, alarms began sounding throughout the ship. The main display showed massive shadows emerging from hyperspace at the edge of the system. The Void Swarm had arrived. Marcus had seen the ancient recordings, but nothing had prepared him for the reality. The creatures were impossibly large, each one the size of a small moon. They moved through space like living oil, absorbing light and energy from everything around them. Where they passed, space itself seemed to become darker. "All units, engage the enemy," Vexstar commanded. The battle began unlike anything in galactic history. Traditional warships fired energy weapons and launched missiles, but their attacks seemed to have little effect on the Void Swarm creatures. The dark beings simply absorbed the energy and continued their advance. But then the enhanced creatures struck. Deep Song of Stars and her pack dove toward the largest Void Swarm creature, moving faster than the sensors could track. When they made contact, something incredible happened. The dark creature recoiled, its shadow form flickering like a damaged hologram. "They're working!" Elena shouted. "The enhanced creatures can actually hurt them." Across the battlefield, similar scenes played out. Star whales used their massive bodies to ram Void Swarm Scouts, while Void Rats swarmed over the larger creatures like antibodies attacking an infection. Tunnel crawlers burrowed through space itself, appearing inside the enemy creatures and tearing them apart from within. But the human mediators were the key to it all. Through their connections with the enhanced creatures, they coordinated attacks and shared information across the entire battlefield. Marcus felt like he was connected to a vast living network, seeing the battle from hundreds of different perspectives at once. "Incoming transmission from the Kepler sector," a technician announced. "Commander Sarah and her Void Rat pack have eliminated a Void Swarm probe. They're moving to assist the evacuation of civilian transports." "Tell her to be careful," Marcus replied. "The larger creatures are learning our tactics." It was true. The Void Swarm was adapting to their attacks, changing its formations and developing new strategies. But so were the enhanced creatures. They had been designed to evolve and adapt, and 3 million years of waiting had only made them more effective. The battle raged for hours. Ships were lost on both sides, and several enhanced creature packs were overwhelmed by larger Void Swarm entities. But slowly, incredibly, the galactic forces began to gain ground. They're retreating, Vexstar announced in amazement. The main swarm is pulling back toward the outer rim. But Marcus knew better. Through deep song of stars, he could sense the true intentions of the void swarm. They're not retreating, they're regrouping. This was just a test to see what we're capable of. Elena checked her communications array. Reports are coming in from across the galaxy. Human creature teams have successfully defended 17 major systems. The evacuation of civilian populations is ahead of schedule. Chairman Thylos looked at Marcus with something approaching awe. Your species has done something remarkable, Ambassador Reed. You've united predator and prey, civilization, and wilderness. We didn't unite them, Marcus replied. We just helped them remember that they were always on the same side. Deep song of stars made her thunder purr sound, and Marcus felt new images flowing through their connection. The void swarm was indeed regrouping, but they were also communicating with something else. Something vast and ancient that lurked in the space between galaxies. The main intelligence is coming, Marcus announced. What we fought today was just the advance force. The real battle is still ahead of us. But for the first time since the crisis began, Marcus felt hope. The galaxy was no longer a collection of separate species competing for resources. It had become something new, a true alliance between all forms of life, mediated by humanity's unique gift for communication. Elena looked at the tactical display, which showed human creature teams scattered across hundreds of worlds. We're not the same galaxy we were 6 months ago? We're something stronger. Vexstar was already planning their next moves. With the enhanced creatures as our partners, we can take the fight to the void swarm. We don't have to wait for them to come to U.S. Marcus placed his hand on Deep Song of Stars' massive head, feeling the warmth and intelligence that had once been mistaken for mindless aggression. The creature that the galaxy had feared above all others had become their greatest protector. Humanity wanted to join the Galactic Alliance, Marcus said quietly. Instead, we helped create something much better. A true partnership between all the children of the stars. The battle was far from over, but the galaxy would face its future united as never before.